Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept our humble obeisances. All glories to Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada. All glories to our revered speaker for today, His Grace JIVA TATTVA Prabhu. And all glories to the Samud Vaishnava devotees. We thank you all for being here as always. It is Friday, the last day of the busy week, and it is our greatest honor to once again have His Grace JIVA TATTVA Prabhu here, who will be sharing the Nectarian Srimad Bhagavatam with us all. I was just saying something that I got his message. Prabhu has a very limited time, and it is still really amazing that he still is staying behind to render this service. But Prabhuji cannot be here for too long because he has another very, very urgent, important assignment. So we're going to stay very much attentive to the time. Prabhuji, without further ado, we will put the verse on the screen and then you take it over from here. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna, Sadhguru Prabhu, Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to serve Srila Prabhupada, Bilu and Gauranga. Hare Krishna. Are we getting the verse, or do you want me to share the verse?
Yeah, if you can share, that would be nice also. Let me see if I can give you the rights. Let me see. Yes. All right. You may share your screen, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Could someone confirm if they can see the screen?
Yes, very clear.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Devotees, please join us in the recitation of invocation for Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udiryet Shavatam Swakatha Krishna Punya Shavana Kirtanaha Hridayantasto He Bhadrani Vidhunoti Suhatsatam Nashta Prayesha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Ruttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So today we are covering two verses from Canto 3, Chapter 14 of Srimad Bhagavatam. Verse numbers are 11 and 12. To give you a background, this is Diti approaching her husband, Kashyapa Muni, during the dusk time, in the evening hours, which is inauspicious for the desires that she wants to fulfill. Hare Krishna. And Kashyapa Muni at this time is doing his evening oblations and meditation on the Supreme Personality of God. Text 11. Tadbhavan dhayamanayam sapatninam samriddhibhihi prajavatinam bhadram te maya ayunkatam anugraham. Tat, therefore, Bhavan, your good self, Dahyamanayam, being distressed, Sapatninam, of the co-wives, Samriddhibhihi, by the prosperity, Prajavatinam, of those who have children, Bhadram, all prosperity, Te, unto you, Mai, unto me, Ayunkatam, do unto me in all respects, Anugraham, favor. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Therefore, you should be kind towards me by showing me complete mercy. I desire to have sons, and I am much distressed by seeing the opulence of my co-wives. By performing this act, you will become happy. Purport. In Bhagavad Gita, sexual intercourse for begetting children is accepted as righteous. A person sexually inclined for simple sense gratification, however, is unrighteous. In Diti's appeal to her husband for sex, it was not exactly that she was afflicted by sex desires, but she desired sons. Since she had no sons, she felt poorer than her co-wives. Therefore, Kashyapa was supposed to satisfy his bona fide wife. Text 12. Bhartaryapntaro Rumananam Lokan Avishate Yashah Patir Bhavad Vidhoyasam Prajaya Nanujayate. Synonyms. Bhartari, by the husband. Apta Urumananam, of those who are beloved. Lokan, in the world. Avishate, spreads. Yashaha, fame. Patihi, husband. Bhavat, vidaha, like your good self. Yasam, of those whose. Prajaya, by children. Nanu, certainly. Jayate, expands. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. A woman is honored in the world by the benediction of her husband, and a husband like you will become famous by having children because you are meant for the expansion of living entities. Purport. According to Rishabdev, one should not become a father or mother unless one is confident that he can beget children whom he can deliver from the clutches of birth and death. Human life is the only opportunity to get out of the material scene, which is full of the miseries of birth, death, old age, and diseases. Every human being should be given the opportunity to take advantage of his human form of life, and a father like Kashyapa is supposed to beget good children for the purpose of liberation. Hare Krishna. So please join us in reciting Srila Prabhupada Prati and seeking blessings from Prabhupada Acharyas and the senior Vaishnava devotees. Hare Krishna. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshitarine Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhayate Girim Yat Kripa Tadaham Vande Shri Gurum Dina Taranam Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So I want to call your attention to the fact that, first of all, Diti was not approaching her husband for sex desire. Srila Prabhupada revealed in the purport very clearly. She had a longing. Sometimes when you have a longing desire and you want to fulfill that, right? And you are constantly thinking about it, then what it becomes? You make mountain out of a mole, as we understand. And in Bhagavad Gita, this is so nicely identified, the whole cycle, how it works, how somebody could do things not based on time, place, and circumstances. So Diti is showing us by example. Now you could ask, what are those verses? A couple of verses in Bhagavad Gita that tell us what this sequence in life is. And we have all gone through these sequences also. Dhyayate vishyan pumsa sangashteshu pajayate sangat sanjayate kama kamat krodho bhijayate krodhat bhavati sammoha smriti brahmasat buddhi nasho buddhi nashat vinashyati. Dhyayate vishyan pumsam. When one meditates on the sense objects, like the senses, they are seeking to engage with those sense objects. Sangateshu vijayate. That's where the attachment develops. So we talk about thinking, feeling, willing. This cycle goes on. It's hidden in this particular sequence. that when you're meditating on something constantly, let me give you an example. You live on a neighborhood and there are like 5 houses on your street. And you realize that this surprise, lotteries are coming out, and they have come out for all 4 houses around you. And yours is the only house that hasn't received this lottery. And let's give a good amount. Let's call it $100 billion, right? That lottery has come to each house on your street, but you do not have a single dollar in the lottery. You may wish, at least get me $1 lottery. It doesn't matter. But that you're feeling that you're missing something just because others got something. So this is what happens. A person would meditate on something that looks dear, that looks famous, that looks popular out there in the world. It may not have any spiritual meaning, but sometimes people are driven by such material desires. Now, Diti's request is not inappropriate. Her request is she wants to beget a child. Now, somebody could say, why was she meditating on this thought so much? What was she wanting? So this is not of wishful thinking. This is a wistful yearning. Why? Because she is the youngest of her sisters who were married to Kashyapa Muni, Sage Kashyapa. He had many of the daughters of Daksha married to him. So he was, having sons from all other sisters of Diti and other co-wives that she had, but Diti had not yet beget a son. Why was that? Somebody could ask. So Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he throws a light on this, that Diti was the youngest of all. And so youngest are sometimes always seen as childlike. And her sisters were always trying to protect her. Sometimes it happens that when you're trying to protect, you're actually harming the person more. And that's what had happened. Aditi was the eldest one. She always thought that is my responsibility to take care of the youngest one. And so she could understand, and other sisters, they could understand that begetting a child requires a lot of painful journey, right? It's said that a woman is reborn at the time she gives birth to a baby. So they could think that the youngest one, who's looking so childlike, this is where children never grow old in the eyes of parents. So they were looking from that parents, from those eyes as parents and taking care of Diti, not realizing that actually Diti was feeling, she was having a yearning, a wistful yearning, a long yearning. And what was Diti doing? She was constantly meditating on that thought. So she had developed attachment. And we all know that during the day, if we have some attachment to something, and we see in the life of materialists, they would work hard, very, very hard throughout the day. But comes evening, their intelligence gets lost because they get attached to so many things in worldly, and their senses give way. They say, okay, I have worked so much, so let me enjoy. And at night time, the influence of ignorance, mode of ignorance is very strong. So that's where devotees, we take care that we go to bed early and we don't get trapped in this cycle of meditating on things which are not desirable. And we wake up early because that's the best time to engage in devotional service. So Diti was tormented by this thought that she doesn't have a son, she doesn't have a son, she doesn't have a son. And the beautiful aspect in these 2 verses is the word praja is used as progeny, right? And praja actually means every administrator or every king, they would treat their children as their sons and daughters. That's what praja means. Praja means the ones who are under your care. And she's approaching Kashyapa, Sage Kashyapa, with this thought that, yes, I have this desire. It may have appeared to be that I have this very strong desire, may not be the right time because you are engaged in meditation right now. You are making oblations to the fire, meditating on the Supreme Personality of God, and you are in trance. But I'm tormented. And a husband's duty is to satisfy the wife, right? Happy wife, happy life. So now sometimes this is also misinterpreted. So as she is meditating on such thoughts, Dhyate Vishyan Pumsa Sangashte Shukajayat, attachment level. Sanga sanjayate kama. From this attachment, lust develops. But this is not lust to enjoy sex with her husband. This is lust to beget a son, a child that she can hold in her hand like all her sisters and the co-wives are holding, and they're taking care of babies. Sometimes when we have children born in our home, we treat them like toys. They are our toys. For parents, the children in the beginning, even the voices they make don't have much meaning. They're trying to speak. They're trying to understand that these people can speak, all these adults and grown-ups. I cannot speak, so they make an effort. But they are not able to speak. But whatever sounds they make, people look at it, oh, this is so wonderful. This is such a beautiful sound. And so for parents have this attitude. And so she was missing all those parts. She was seeing all these sons and daughters of her co-wives running around, and they are enjoying this. And she would engage, but then at the same time, she was feeling, it would be nice if I had one. It's like same story. Everyone has received the lottery of $100 billion, but I haven't. So meditation may go on that direction. So our meditation was on that. Sangha sanjayate kama. So this kama is not bodily sensual desire. This is, yes, it's an expanded desire on senses, but begetting a child that she can play with, take care of, and feel proud as a mother. So that's also a relationship she was missing. Because happiness doesn't come from things, it comes from relationships. That's also an important factor. And how we relate to everything around us is also very important. Sometimes we see people, they ignore their loved ones and they take care of their iPhones. If the children is hit by another child, they say, oh, that's okay, that's fine. But if somebody by mistake knocks off their phones from their hand and it falls on the ground, they become angry. They're like, what did you do? Or somebody keys their car, they're like, go to the court and so forth. We have seen all these stories. Sometimes big fights start and wars have even started on trivial things in life. And today's time, as we see, people have a lifestyle but no life. They are looking for so many things, but inside they are all empty. They're feeling that void with material things, material desires. That's why Queen Kuti says that those who are, proud of various things, and they are proud of like Shuta Shibir, Edmana Madhapuman. So again, those who are proud with Shuta, great knowledge, Shibir, beauty. I'm thinking of Aishwarya Samagra, so that's the definition of Bhagavan. So, and those who are Janmeshwarya Shuta Shibir, Edmana Madhapuman, Nevar Hatya Vidatam, Vetvam Kinchana Gocharam. So Janma, higher birth, Aishwarya, great opulence, Shruta, great learning, and Shibhir, great beauty. When people are proud of this, they cannot approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But those, Akinchana Gocha, Etimana, Madha, Puman, Janmeshwarya, Shruta, Shibhir, Etimana, Madha, Puman, Neva Hatya Vidatum Chay, Tom Akinchana Gocha. But one can approach when they have nothing. Now, I was reading through Srila Prabhupada's commentary, and he says that it's not that a person is devoid of things. They understand that they don't have anything because all the things that are provided to them are actually provided by Krishna and actually belongs to be engaged in Krishna's service. So they may be very opulent, like Amrish Maharaj. He was a king, a great king, but he was engaging everything in Lord's service. So yes, that is the mood that one who becomes humble can easily approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But what's the state of Diti? She is going through this lusty desire to beget a child. It's not a lusty desire to enjoy sex life with her husband, momentary sex, but rather to beget a child so that she have that extended sensual gratification, for herself. Sangha sanjayate kama, kamat krodho vijayate. Now, sometimes when the desires are not satisfied, it may lead to anger. Luckily, in this case, she hasn't reached that particular level. But when someone's desires are not fulfilled, they become angry. Krodhat bhavati sammohat. And when krodha comes, again, it may be said that this is a silent krodha. She's not showing on her face, but in her heart, this wistful yearning. It's not wishful, thinking. It's wistful, like long yearning that she has. Oh, Hare Krishna. Let me turn on the. Do not disturb. And so she's approaching her husband, and maybe she is somewhat upset in her heart that she doesn't have a child, and part of it is the responsibility of Sage Kashyap. And Krodhat Bhavati Sammoha. So this is where one doesn't see things as they are. They see from their own perspective. And the tendency is to rationalize. Sammohat Smruti Bhamsa. So the one's memory is destroyed. So she's approaching, at this time, in the evening time, because her memory is vague, memory is, bewildered, and Smriti Brahmsad Buddhi Nasho, and then her intelligence is lost. Buddhi Nashat Vinashyati, and that causes complete destruction. However, we have to also understand, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is exemplifying here that when she is approaching at that time, she's not influenced by Maya like most of the people are. She's actually influenced by Yoga Maya. And why is Yoga Maya engaged in this? Somebody could say. Because we talk about those two gatekeepers who were cursed by the Chatur Kumaras, Jaya and Vijaya in Vaikuntha. And what was the wish? Means they were given opportunity. So again, Chatur Kumaras, when they were going through the 7 gates, I am starting a story inside a story and an insider story. This is how Bhagavatam goes sometimes, where these 4 sages, after having received knowledge for realization of the Supreme, they were still Mayavadis. They were still thinking that merging into Brahman is the goal of life. However, when they went to the spiritual world, because they could easily travel by the potencies they had attained due to the meditation, which is Ashtanga Yoga, yet at the same time, they were realized. So they could easily cross over the 6 gates in heaven. Now, somebody could say, what are those 6 gates? How could they easily cross over 6 gates? So these 6 gates are Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Mad, Matsara. They are tested. So just like we come into a country and we have to show our passport and they ask what's the reason, and we give them the valid reason, so they allow us to enter the country. So to enter Vaikuntha, you have to cross 7 gates. 6 gates, no problem, because these sages did not have Kam, which is lust, Krodh, anger, Lobh, greed, Moh, attachments, and again, delusion and envy. So they didn't have any of these negative qualities. And so they were easily able to, but on the 7th gate, Jai Vijay, the doorkeepers, they stopped them. Because they were these, again, Lord Vishnu did not desire, so he inspired these 2 gatekeepers to stop the sages, the 4 Kumars, because they were just naked 5-year-old boys. That's how their appearance was. And sages cursed them that you don't belong in Vaikuntha. You should go to the material world, Mrityu Loka, where there is, Jan Mittu Jara Vyadhi Dukha Doshanudashan. So 4 kind of miseries is birth, Jan, Mrityu, death, Jara, old age, Vyadhi, various diseases. And so they suddenly realized that these are great sages. And so they asked for forgiveness. And Lord Vishnu, Padmanabha Vishnu, comes running to the gate. Now, Lord Vishnu also came to the gate so that these 4 Kumaras, their curse is satisfied, yet at the same time, they become personalists to give them this benediction that actually the Supreme Person is not Brahman, it's me. I am the cause of Brahman. And at that time, Jai Vijay was given the choice, either you take 3 births as demons or 7 births as devotees. If you were given chance of getting 3 births in the material world as demons and 7 births as devotees, what would we choose? You can write in the chat, what would you choose? Raise your hand if you choose to become devotees when you have to come to the material world. I don't see anyone raising their hands. Okay, Hare Krishna. Okay, so one hand. Now we have to also understand that the residents of Vaikuntha Nitya Siddhas, they're eternally liberated. They know exactly what are true realizations and true knowledge. And so they said, 7 births to go through the pain of birth and death and old age and disease, that is very troublesome. We don't want that. 3 births look nice because that's less painful, right? Instead of, you get beaten 7 times versus 3 times only. So this is how they're looking at. Makes perfect sense. Now, they also had a desire to fight with the Lord. They had seen so many wonderful pastimes they were aware of. But then in Vaikuntha, you cannot fight with the Lord. So you have to come to the material world. But as a devotee, again, you cannot fight with the Lord. Well, in reality, Lord makes an opportunity even in those stages. Vaishnavanam yatha Shambhu. Lord Shiva is the greater Vaishnava. But his devotee was Banasur, so Lord Shiva had to fight with Lord Krishna directly. So Lord makes an arrangement. But here, this arrangement is made through Yogamaya, that yes, this will be born. So Yogamaya is influencing Diti at that time in the evening so that she approaches her husband. Now, even the youngest ones are treated childlike. She was very mature and very beautiful. She was the most beautiful of all his sisters. And so Kashyapa Muni, he's sometimes referred to as hand-packed husband because he's satisfied her desires, which is later on. Yet at the same time, her plea is not to have conjugal times, but also to beget children. So again, that's how. And that, as per Bhagavad Gita, is authorized. So she's using authority when she's making that you will be glorified. And what's the purpose of marriage? Everything has its purpose in life. Purpose of marriage is to beget a child, putra or putri, because they deliver you from Pratada. So there is a hellish hell called Pratada. So they deliver you from that hell. And how do they deliver you? Just because they have taken birth? No, actually they have to do pindadans. This is for the materialists. For devotees' case, we don't do that, yet at the same time, in 10th canto, and also in Krishna book, Srila Prabhupada says, Lord Krishna also performed the forefathers, oblations to the forefathers. We see example of Advaitacharya performing oblation to the forefathers, and the first Brahmana he offers food to is Haridas Thakur. Haridas Thakur says, you will be blasphemed, you will be defamed because you're offering me, I'm a Muslim. But then he's like, no, you are a perfect Brahmana. A perfect Vaishnava is automatically a perfect Brahmana. So again, here in this particular case, she's using this reason that you have to give me a son because I am tormented by this thought that all my sisters and co-wives, they have children, but I do not have one. And so she is rationalizing because of the wistful yearning she has. And we should always be aware of, we should have developed mindful awareness to recognize and transcend distracting desires. This is an important lesson that we get. So first, wistful yearning can cause us to do different, not so good things, and we may rationalize them, but then the awareness has to be there. And we have to understand what is our noble duty. Her noble duty is to serve her husband, and her husband will automatically beget son. But then, in this case, she forgets about her noble duty to not disturb her husband when he is in trance, when he is engaged in spiritual activities, but disturbs him. And she was not paying attention to the time, place, and circumstances. So the noble timing is missing here. She's approaching at inappropriate time of the day where Lord Shiva goes out with his Bhutgaras, and at that time, if such events are happening, husband and wife having conjugal relationship, sexual, engagement, then of course the children may not be influenced with the right forces. And so there is material satisfaction is what she is trying to fulfill, but what should we be looking at? We should look at spiritual satisfaction. So yes, satisfaction can be of various types, and we should be looking from a spiritual perspective. So here in this particular, these 2 verses are identifying that she is approaching and rationalizing her desire to her husband and approaching him at the wrong time, at the wrong place, and the wrong circumstances. He's engaged in worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He's in trance. He's doing his evening oblations. So those are the things that sometimes even Yoga Maya is influencing us. This is not influenced by Mahamaya. Yet at the same time, I do want to call out your attention to one fact, that her rationalizing, rational plus lies, that's how she's presenting it, is still for the duty that she wants to carry out. But her duty is to satisfy her husband, and husband's duty is to satisfy her by begetting children. Yet at the same time, this has been, she is presenting her case by presenting her husband's case. Sometimes we have this tendency. We like to tell others what they should do without realizing that what we should be doing. Right? And that's exactly what she is doing. She is not serving her husband by helping him in his spiritual activities, but she's taking him away from his spiritual activities and telling him what she should be doing to satisfy her. And so we should be very, very careful. So today, means I just wanted to quickly present this in the acronym WANTS, which is W is for wishful yearning. Yet at the same time, we should be aware of our surroundings, time, place, and circumstances. They play a very major role. So A is for awareness, N is for noble duty. So yes, people are performing various duties, but they are rationalizing sometimes. And we should balance between fulfilling worldly duties and advancing spiritually. And T is for trust in divine timing. So again, sometimes people have the tendency to make everyone do what they want done, but they don't want to do what actually should be done. So this is, we have to rely on divine timing and let Krishna work through us. Let us be an instrument in Krishna's service and seek spiritual satisfaction. So S in one says spiritual satisfaction, that brings us closer to Krishna. And one of the important as well is, so as caregivers of the family, it is our responsibility to guide the family and children from knowledge, the spiritual knowledge, by applying this acronym WANTS. And Srila Prabhupada and Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur actually talks about this, that a man who has a hen that lays golden egg is very much attached to the golden egg that the hen is laying, right? But he doesn't want to feed the hen because he doesn't like the first half part, because he has to feed the hen to beget a golden egg. There's only one, the lower half, the other half of the hen, not the front half where he has to feed. So in our life, everything that we are expecting requires us to first serve. And that should make us humble. And in this particular case, also we say the play of humility, means again the important role of humility in life, because Tvama Kinchana Gocharam, Kunti Devi is saying that you are easily approached by one who has nothing. She is not saying that one who's poor. She is the queen of Yudhishthira Maharaj at that time, and she's reciting this verse. And she's approaching Lord Krishna with that humble mood. So, there's Raja, which is like the king, and the Raj Mata, the mother of the king, is more glorified than the king. But she is coming in a humble mood. So this is also, we have to see with the proper perspective. That she is revealing Janna Aishwarya Shuta Shivirid Mana Madhukuma Nevar Hatya Vidatum Vai Twam Kinchana Gochara. So one who is proud of higher birth, opulences, Aishwarya, Shuta, great learning, and Shibhi, great beauty, cannot appraise the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Why? Because they are proud. And that is a hurdle in our spiritual progress. And rather, we should be in a humble mood. So instead of humbly serving her husband in carrying out his duties, Diti is afflicted by this wistful desire, wistful yearning to beget a child, because she is seeing everyone else having a child among the co-wives, and she wants one, and she is just acting against the scriptural injunctions in this case. Hare Krishna. So this is where I want us to reflect on our daily lives, see what things we are doing, and are we doing those things based on the instructions that we receive from Sadhguru and Shastra, the senior Vaishnavas, the scriptures, and Srimad Bhagavatam. Every verse is filled with this devotional service, inspiring us. Yet at the same time, people say, how could these verses be there, which are actually showing that somebody is trying to take someone else away from devotional service? Yes, that is to show us the importance that when you do this kind of activities which are inappropriate, the results cannot be appropriate. So what goes around comes around. Hare Krishna. Over to you, Sahadev Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for sharing this wisdom with us all today. It's always beautiful by Sri Guru Krishna's grace that we have different devotees come to share Srimad Bhagavatam with us. So we get to understand the Bhagavatam in such a very, very deep and wonderful way because we're getting different perspectives of different devotees. And that is very wonderful. Dear devotees, if anyone may have questions, comments, realizations, reflections, you may want to ask or share, please indicate by using the hand emoji or your physical hand, and you'll be asked to unmute to ask your questions or share your reflections. Like I said earlier on, our speaker today has very limited time to be with us. So if we have anything we may ask or share so that Prabhuji may move on to his other engagement. And with that, I will ask this question, Prabhuji. Of course, like I said, thank you so much for making time with us, even though you have this very busy scheduled engagement. When we study the scriptures, specifically the Srimad Bhagavatam, as we're trying to do here, two things. We are learning certain activities that happened in the past, and if it was good for us, then we try to emulate. If they are bad for us, then we try to stay away from it. So my question is, Diti's approach to her husband for intimacy because she wanted children, is it something that devotees should look up to and try to follow, or it is something devotees should look up to and say, no, I'm not going to do this. And if I'm not going to do this, which part? I'm not going to do this. And if we have to learn from it, which part? To me, I'm thinking, no matter what her desire or Diti's desire was, it was wrong for her to approach her husband during when her husband was in deep meditation. Whether he is meditating on Lord Shiva, Ganesh, Krishna, that doesn't matter much. But as long as he is in meditation, she should not have approached him. So if you may help me with this question, please. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Sajay Prabhu. You have asked many important points just in that question. So let's start with when we read Srimad Bhagavatam. Now, as Acharya has revealed to us, and Srila Prabhupada say, his books should not just be read like a novel you read or a magazine you read. They should be studied. So we should study the scriptures to understand how things are. And Srila Prabhupada used this phrase of everything should be done based on time, place, and circumstances. And our duties come first. So again, we have to align our material duties based on Varnashram Dharma to our spiritual duty, Jive Rasurupaya Krishna Nityadas. So when we look at this, any duty that we are performing, any activity that we are performing, we have to do it in a humble mood. And the humble mood comes, humility is like the fifth limb of surrender. Yet at the same time, there are four other limbs that help us understand how we can be humble. So, anukulyasya sankalpa pratikulyasya vajanam rakshishyati iti vishwaso gopatitve varnam tatha atmanikshepakapane shadvida sharanagati. So, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he elaborates on Sharanagati principles that there are 6 limbs of Sharanagati. Anukulyasya sankalpa. Anukul means that is favorable for our spiritual advancement. Any activity that we perform that is favorable for our spiritual advancement, we should accept it. Pratikulyasya varjana. And anything that is unfavorable to our spiritual advancement should be rejected. Now here, in this example, Diti is having the desire to beget a child. But that duty of her getting a child is her husband's. Her duty is to serve her husband. Now, in current times, people have misunderstood sometimes the Vedic culture itself. We know that in Mahabharata, so many personalities are misunderstood. And they are misunderstood because people could not understand the culture behind it. They challenge things based on their limited understanding without realizing that this Varnashram Dharma was established by Lord Krishna. Let's look at the example of Diti approaching her husband at this time. But do you know that it had been decades before that she was married to her husband? So again, we are talking of these living entities on higher planet systems with great advancement. And our puny intelligence cannot even come close to what consciousness they have. And it's showing also the power of material energy, that she is so powerful that even such highly advanced spiritual beings, such highly cultured beings, could be inflicted by material desires. Begetting a child is a material desire in this case. She's not looking to beget a child to make the child Krishna conscious. See, she's looking to beget a child because all her co-wives have a child, right? At least a child. So that is material consciousness she's approaching. Srila Prabhupada in the purport for the 12th verse clearly identifies that Rishabdev, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, when instructing his 100 sons, and the eldest one was Bharat Maharaj, he is saying that one should not beget a child if they cannot make the child Krishna conscious. Now we know about Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. He was Dashtika Brahmachari all his life, but he made a very strong statement. He said, if I can have perfect Krishna conscious children, I'm ready to have 100 sons. So I'm paraphrasing it, but the concept is same. So the responsibility of a parent is to make sure that they can make their children Krishna conscious, so that they come out of this cycle of birth and death. So also glorifying the Grihasthashram. It's only in Grihasthashram that a living entity gets the opportunity to beget a human form of birth. If there was no Grihasthashram, none of the ashram gives an opportunity for the living entities to be born as a human being. So that's also a very clearly distinction. So we have to understand the principles, and details may change, but then the principle is that we have to carry out our duties in perfect alignment of our spiritual responsibilities in alignment with our material duties based on Varnashram Dharma. And here, Diti, when she was married and her sisters were married, and in Vedic culture, yes, the girls were married when they were not even sometimes teenagers at a very young age. But that didn't mean that they would go with a husband and have physical relationship. No. So they were married early so that they can go to their in-laws' place and they can learn the culture, the way of living in the in-laws' place, get proper training and guidance by the mother-in-law, by elderly ladies in the family, and understand how to constantly survive. Yes, in Kali age, there has been so much exploitation that this particular aspect became evident and could not be followed. Just because we could not follow it, we should not say that that is bad. It is in current times because of the fallen intelligence of living entities around us, and us included, that it is not favorable for us. That doesn't mean the thing is bad. So again, when a knife on its own is not bad. A knife in the hand of a doctor is saving lives, and the same knife in the hand of a thug is a great threat. We should not call things based on our perspective, but understand the given circumstances. In current circumstances, Kali age, it is said, Srila Prabhupada, when he was married, his wife wasn't beautiful. So he was thinking of getting married again. But then his father said, you know what? Chanakya Pandit said that, this is his father, Srila Prabhupada's father, telling him that Chanakya said that one's wife, if she is beautiful, she is a Shatru. Ready Pita Shatru. If a father is in debt, he's an enemy. So this kind of, if the son is not intelligent, then he is an enemy. So you are lucky that your wife is not beautiful. She was very obedient. So here, and then Srila Prabhupada realized it and gave the thought of marrying second time. And then when some of his disciples, they wanted to get married and have multiple wives, he immediately chastised them. And some of them were even temple presidents. He said, no, you have to live outside the temple, and to be part of this society, to be following as my disciple, you have to give 50% of whatever you earn. He made that strong restriction. Now, he provided that insight. Did people follow? No. So Srila Prabhupada, over a period of time, also realized that he is trying to help them understand the Eastern culture, but he also need to understand the Western culture. And this is where Shruti Prabhu he shared one important incident, that once Srila Prabhupada was asked by one of his disciples that if he can marry another lady. And Srila Prabhupada said yes. So he said, Srila Prabhupada, how could say yes? He's like, you know what? If I had said no, he would have still gone and married. But he would have committed a greater offense of Guru Avagya, not following the instructions of his spiritual master. So we have to look at things with proper perspective and understand what is beneficial for others. So anukulyasya sankalpa, pratikulyasya vajan. Rakshishyatiti vishwasa. So Lord Krishna will provide us protection if we perform our duties properly. Which doesn't mean that we sit and just chant and do our activities of devotional service and forget our activities of Varnashram Dharma. Yes, Varnashram Dharma without devotional service is useless. But with the devotional service rationalized to just be an idle person also makes our life useless, because Lord Krishna himself says, then not one who has renounced everything is dear to me. Those who are, burning the fire, which is carrying out their Varnashram duties, carrying out their part of activities. So he's giving the instruction to Arjun. Arjun was ready to leave the battlefield and just give up everything. And he said, I don't want to fight with my relatives, Shiva. But Lord Krishna says, Mam Ismaran Yuddhacha, that you, remembering me, you have to fight. And he also gave this important instruction, Yat karoshi yadashnasi yad jihoshi darasi yat tapasyasi kanteya tat kurisho badapo. Yat karoshi, whatever activities you do, we do activities three ways, by mind, body, and words. And all those activities that we perform with our senses, by body, with our mind, our thought process, thinking, feeling, and willing, and words, the speech, the ability to share, communicate with others. All these activities should be done as an offering to the Lord. Yadashnasi yadjuhoshi tadasyat yat tapasyasi kanteya. So whatever we receive should be offered. Whatever yajna, dan, and tap, sacrifice, austerity, and charity we perform should be done for the Supreme Personality of Godhead as an offering, offering of flowers. So it should be pleasing to the Lord, favorable. That's anukulyasya sankalpa pratikulyasya vajnam as well. So Lord will provide us protection. Srila Prabhupada said, if you don't chant your 16 rounds, then I cannot provide you protection. So does it mean that Srila Prabhupada has the potency to provide protection? No, he is actually the instrument through which Lord Krishna's potency is flowing through us to provide us protection. So we have to understand from that perspective. He is a preeminent Acharya of ISKCON. So he is, Acharya means one who is leading by example, and also he is the preeminent Shiksha Guru. Through his books, he has provided. Just like he says that we get the same association of Krishna as Arjuna received when he was on the battlefield. We get the same association of Srila Prabhupada through his books. Through the purpose, there is transcendental ecstasies that reveal the fact to us as they are. So I'm addressing various aspects in your questions, so I'm going a little longer. But in reality, everything should be done on time, place, and circumstance, and Lord will maintain. Rakshishyatiti vishwasa gopatitve varnamtata. So Lord Krishna, he took care of the cowherd, village, the Vrajvasis, when Indra was upset. What are these small administrators in current times? We have to engage while carrying out our duties. And then comes humility. And that, all these things, all activities should be done with a humble heart. And when we do with humble heart, then sixth principle is identified, offering everything to the Lordship. Atmanikshep Karpani, Shadvita Shanagati. So Atmanikshep is, we can surrender everything, just like Bali Maharaj. He was the emperor of the universe. Everything was taken away in 2 steps. Third step, he said, my dear Lord, this body still belongs to me. Accept it. Now, somebody could have argued. Devashi Narad actually was thinking at that point in later conversation, another place, he says, but his body was provided by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. How could he offer his body to someone who actually owns the body? Yet at the same time, something that has been put in our care is being offered back to the owner. That is also when sometimes a child offers to the parents something because of the love, not thinking that this belongs to me. Everything the child gets is from the parents. But parents feel nice if the child offers something back to the parents. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for the elaborate explanation. Thank you so much. It does help, but I still have some uncleared doubts, but I'll see if other devotees have something to ask or to share. So dear devotees, if anyone has something to ask or to share, please, you may do so before our revered speaker says goodbye to us for today, because he has other engagements. So he will not be here for long, as he usually does. Anyone else with something to share? Well, Prabhuji, if I may follow up with the question I asked and the beautiful answer you gave, and that is, deity, I mean, it's kind of similar question I asked yesterday. Deity, her desire to see her husband was not much so as being lusty, but more so because she wanted to have children. Now, when she met her husband, Kashyapa, she became pregnant and she gave birth to demons. Now, my question is, did the byproduct of their interaction, of their relationship, being demons, was it as a result of improper time of meeting the husband, or it is because she broke her husband's meditation? Now, if it is improper time, then what is the proper time? The scriptures ask married couples who want to beget children to engage in such relationship. These are my 2 questions, please.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Charity begins at home. People like to preach to others that they cannot follow. But Acharya's definition is you have to show by your own example.
Example.
Srila Prabhupada in the purport for 12th verse clearly stated, Rishabdev's instruction, if one cannot deliver their children, they should not beget children. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, I will have 100 sons if they can be all Krishna conscious. So getting a human form of life is our path. The goal is to attain love of Godhead. To attain love of Godhead is actually a giving action. Sometimes people are searching for God. But the true realization is that the God never left. He's all around us. Yet at the same time, we want to serve, and we can only serve a person. That's why the 6th Goswami is going on in Vrindavan and saying, Radha Krishna, where are those? So where are you? Because they want to serve, and yet at the same time, they are serving 24/7. Yet that mood of separation is increasing their love. That's a different kind of yearning, the spiritual yearning, versus the wistful yearning we see in the case of Diti. Now, various lessons that Acharya is revealed to us is she's approaching at the inappropriate time. She's actually becoming a roadblock and causing impediments in her husband's spiritual advancement. She is presenting things using the help of the Shastras, the teachings, but inappropriately. Remember in Bhagavad Gita when Arjuna said, I am telling you this, Krishna, we get those 5 reasons and saying that if the Pindadan is not performed, and why would that not be performed? Because the women will fall down. Why women will fall down? Because there will be no caretakers. The husbands and sons will be dead. And so the women will fall. And that will cause the forefathers to fall. So he's saying the current generation and the previous generations, they will all be destroyed. And how can I attack my worshipable, my teacher, Dronacharya, and my great-grandfather, Bhishmadev? So again, grandson Bhishmadev, I cannot, because these personalities are worshipable. He's giving these reasons that all my family members are gathered there. We are here to fight for this kingdom, but at the same time, if they are all dead, who will I enjoy with? This is all material consciousness based on, yes, spiritual taken away by carrying out the duties more as a ritual. That's what he's thinking. But we have to make not it as a ritual, as a duty just for the mundane purpose, for sense gratification, but to bring the spirit back in. We have to look from the proper perspective. Diti's approach is where it has been called out as incorrect. Yet at the same time, it has all been arranged by Krishna's desire. Sarvasya chaham hridisannivishto matta spitirgyanam apohanam cha. Lord Krishna says to Arjuna, verse 15 Bhagavad Gita, that remembrance, forgetfulness and knowledge comes from me. And so here she is put into that forgetful state by Yogamaya. Yet at the same time, for us, who are still under the influence of Mahamaya, by material energy, we should take these as lessons that we have to take these lessons and engage in devotional service. So why should be helping our husband in engaging in devotional service? Sometimes even instructing that you should be doing this instead of all those mundane things that you are doing. So yet at the same time, also carrying out one's own duty before you ask others to do is very important. Hare Krishna, does that answer your question?
Yes, very much. Yes. Especially when you said this particular activity was influenced by Yogamaya. Unlike in my case, it's Mahamaya. So if I just follow, okay, Diti and Kashyapa, this is what happened. So if it happens to me, it's all right. But it's not all right for me because I am being manipulated seriously by material energy. Yes. Thank you so much. Since Prabhuji, your time is up, we can't thank you enough. And dear devotees, I know sometimes some devotees, it takes them a little while to get their questions together to ask. But even though you may have your questions together, we may not be able to continue now because Prabhuji has other urgent assignment to attend to. So at this point, we're going to humbly request you all to kindly unmute yourselves, and we all chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra to express our deepest appreciation to our revered speaker, His Grace Jiva TATTVA Prabhu, for sharing his love and wisdom with us all today. Jai. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Vancha Kalpa
Vanchakapatarubhyascha, Kripasinibhyo Patitanam Pavanibhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha.
Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, all parishes based Jiva TATTVA Prabhu ki jai, all Vaishnava devotees ki jai, Jagat Guru Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare